Hello, world news. First Monday of June. So, first Monday we get the Joker chart. And as you can see over in the United States, their unemployment in this great recession is not getting any better. It's trying to go up maybe, but it's really not succeeding. It's still 5% below where it needs to be to get back to the top of the chart. Very bad. Moving on. Back in January 2009, Christina Roma, Jared Bernstein gave us this chart. To be or not to be. Unemployment rate with and without the recovery plan. This is Obama's first great big effort, obviously advised by people like Roma, who subsequently said bye-bye and gone away. So we've got with the recovery plan is the dark blue, without the recovery plan in light blue. And as you can see, there was a recovery plan, so we should be now down under 7% unemployment. Without the recovery plan, it would have been really bad at nearly 8.5% unemployment, but what we have actually in the United States now is over 9%. So, not too clever. And with regard to that, this St. Louis Fed chart, the average mean duration of unemployment, going back to 1950, and you can see basically that it averaged about 15 weeks unemployment all the way up to this Great Recession, about 15 weeks, about that. But now it's at 40 weeks. Do I need to say again, there is something dreadfully wrong still going on? Next one, St. Louis Fed again, is the personal savings rate. I've put a few marks in here. We can see it went about flat at about 8% between 1960 and 1980, roughly. But since 1980, it's progressively got smaller and smaller, the savings rate in the United States, and it came from about 8% down to about 2.5%. But because of this Great Recession, people are saving more. They save more. It's a psychological thing, and this is why economics is not very clever. It's hard to take into account the psychology of people. They're saving more because they don't have as much faith in the future as they had in the past. And we can note that little hook down at the end where they're right at the end of the chart. It just kind of hooks down. And that could be that people are dissaving or saving less because they actually have to now. They've got to get into their savings because they need it just to stay above water, or they are becoming more confident, and that's because the economy is getting better. You choose. Next is expected change in family income, going back to 1981. From the University of Michigan survey, and you can see that generally people thought their change in family income would go up by about 3% per year for ever since 1980, and during this recession something has happened, and now it drops down to roughly bugger all. That's what people think is going to happen to them. Moving on, Barclays Capital, loan growth pre and post Lehman collapse. We've been dealing with the United States up to now, so I've put a little yellow dot on the United States. Very annoyingly the wrong way round, in my opinion, the way this is presented, but the light blue bars going upwards, all going upwards, are average for the decade pre-Lehman collapse, how much loan growth there would be in the country for the decade before Lehman's collapse. And it was 12% per year increase in loan growth in the United States, which has now gone down to the left. We read this right to left, where a blue bar, dark blue bar would be. It's not there because it's 0% loan growth in the United States. If we go from left to right, if you want to follow me, we go to Ireland, which with 22% loan growth for the decade before the Lehman collapse has now collapsed to -7%. Belgium used to be 6% a year, now it's -5%. The US there with red used to be 12% increase in growth of loans, now it's 0. Germany not into loans, but even less into loans. Greece used to be quite big into it, as did Spain next door, with the same idea of 17% positive, is gone down to 1%. There's only 1% loan growth now. France 7 down to 2, Italy 9 down to 3, Netherlands 10 down to 3, Portugal 13 down to 5, and the UK bucking the trend, 10 only down to 8. They're a bit slow in the United Kingdom, but they'll get the memo. And finish with this chart, banks' exposure to peripheral countries' total debt as a percentage of countries' GDP. We're over in the Euroland, and this is mainly to show the first big bar up there, because I've never said too much about the Netherlands, but I was quite shocked by this. Their exposure to Greece, Ireland and Portugal isn't very large compared to their GDP, but when it comes to their exposure to Spain, that is where the Dutch have been putting their spare money into Spain, hugely into Spain. The UK mainly into Ireland, but also into Spain. Germany mainly into Spain, but also big into Ireland. France big into Spain, and there it goes, Switzerland slightly more into Spain than Ireland. Spain into Portugal, their neighbours, and Austria, Italy and the US following on. But main take from this for me certainly was the huge exposure that the Netherlands has to Spain, and how keen they will be to keep their fingers in the Greek, Irish and Portuguese dike holes, because they would not want the great big hole of Spain to come pissing all over them. Have a good week. Bye.